you're all very much related to ICSSR. Yes, of course, some private agency, you can approach corporates. I think being an academicians, we always forget to approach corporate, and their corporate expectation will never be matching with our research approach. That is also a big hindrance. But anyway, today, one thing I can understand is now all the social scientists or all the social science based researchers are very much well versed with ICSSR in context, right? Because I think it's very popular now. So, just to give a very brief list, you can have basically Government of India will provide funding for research, especially MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development. MHRD alone funds UGC and ICSSR. So the funding for project may directly come from MHRD or through University Grants Commission or Indian Council for Social Science Research. Then Ministry of Education will allow you to engage with education-based research, and NAC. I don't know how many of you have approached a NAC for varied assessment-based research, and ISHE, All India Survey on Higher Education. Then again UGC, Government of Tamil Nadu, we have State Research Funding Agency. Then DST, CSIR, and MWCT, ICSSR, and again the list still goes on. This is not an exhaustive list. Even those who are belong to Tamil department, language department can approach Central Institute of Classical Tamil in Chennai, and NCRT, NCT, TANSHE, even TRB conducts research and funds for research, and TNSCRT, this is State Council of Educational Research and Training for Tamil Nadu. Tamil Virtual Academy, I don't know how many of you been to Tamil Virtual Academy. It's next to Anna Centenary Library in Chennai. Even they also award research funds. So, friends, like whenever we discuss about funding agency, these details are ever available in website. But still, we never regularly approach all the funding agency. We always go to ICSR. We will wait for ICSR. We'll wait for ICSR to provide us funds to release applications, and we just submit applications in thousands, sometime in lakhs. Because even this time in the recent call, the application is nearly 20,000 plus for both minor and major projects separately, right? But first of all, we need to know there are so many avenues that are available. There are so many enlisted agencies that are available to provide funds. First, being a academicians, being a researchers, first we should get awareness about funding agencies. Maybe again, as I told, this 21 is very basic common list. This is not the exhaustive list. There are so many funding agencies that are available still. You can browse through and find so many details pertaining to it. Now, who are the major players? Now I'm going to post this question to you. Funding agencies will give funds to which type of institutions? Who are their primary customers? Their primary target? Whenever the funding agencies just call for any proposal, these institutions will be the first one to respond, and also these institutions alone get it first. NAC accredited institutions, yes, good. Excellent. 2F and 12B status awareness is must for all the researchers. Good. Institutions with 2B and 12F status. Right. Good. Is anything else? Any other institution that comes to your mind? And just telling which type of institution will get research funds. Those
Universities.
is universities. Excellent. Yes. Universities. University types. Excellent. Yes. And also central university will be given preferences. Perfect. Yes. Government institution, very good. Yes. And especially state funding agency and all. Now TANSHE always give research projects only to the government institution. Deemed university, yes, but it's of very limited percentage. Again, see the question in the screen. It is major players, right? Major players. University, central university, of course, top. Government aided institution, answer is good, but again, the percentage is very limited. Yes, I'm just expecting one few more answers. You are nearing universities, central universities, corporate. Yes, nowadays private agencies also approaching government for research. Yes, they do get. Private university affiliated to UGC will get fund or not. They won't get.
Here, some
Oh,
industrial, some industries they are sponsored the project for PhDs.
yes, 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 ma'am. But I'm asking about research funding agencies whom
Yeah,
they
yeah, they are
actually look
giving
for.
the funding. Sir, for engineering sector, they are IITs like IITs, IIMs, they are funding some companies, sir.
Yes, ma'am, that is true. That is true. I'm not talking about funding agencies. I'm talking about the type of institutions which is receiving, but still, I totally take your point. ICMR, yes, ICMR, the answer is nearer, but it's related to science. Think about some social institution. How many of you belong to Chennai here? I think most of you must be from Chennai, probably, right? When you talk about institutions, you need to think research institutions will get more fundings. Yes, maybe I can just put you on some small list here. Can you all see? These people are the major players, right? Sometime you may think I have applied so many proposals to the funding agency of central government, but I didn't get any proposal. Sometime out of 20 proposal, my ratio is 20:1 because out of my experience, I got one central government and one state government. And recently, one of my central government project, I finished two interview process and one is waiting for proposal. In spite of the three proposals are in process. So according to me, the ratio is if you belong to educational institution affiliated to university, if you are aided, then you should at least write 10 to 20 proposals to get one. Maybe if you belong to university state, maybe 10, central maybe 5, that is fine. But if you are research institutions, 2 3 proposal if you send, at least one will be picked. So according, this is a data which I retrieved from the ICSR website. Recently they did a research stating who are the major players, they are getting more fundings to do social science based research. So when you see here, the major players are all central based research institutions, starting from Delhi University, JNU. How many of you been to MIDS Chennai, Madras Institute of Development Studies? They also got so much of research projects. I always want you to like I ask my research scholars to go through their handbook every year. In their handbook they will just provide a list of 50 to 100 projects which are all highly funded by state and central government. Then when you see all these are all central government centers or institution. So first we need to have this awareness that why we are not getting projects easily, because the major players in research funding agencies of central government and state government is not a normal college. It's always research institutions, especially the institution and centers of central government. Then emerging centers, when you talk about emerging centers, these are all emerging centers which are all recently formed, and these people also continuously getting research project, because these emerging centers are focusing on specific research problems like women, public health, and of Dalit studies, or maybe related to some particular rural education and educational research and so on, right? So now I'm just stopping here about the research funding agency. Hereafter, I'm just going to discuss only about how do we need to approach funding agency, what is actually happening with the funding agency, why we are not getting it, how can we equip ourselves to getting it, right? So, as I told earlier in my prelude, my work is just to introduce, right? It is not that I'm going to read slides or I'm not going to show you anything by step by step. Now you know how many research fundings are available in India pertaining to social sciences. And of course, after home, you are going to search about some more institutions also. And you should also be aware of one thing, that who are all getting fundings easily. When I say easily, it doesn't mean that it's an unworthy proposal. No, never think like that. Those are all really a very deserving, worthy proposals. But their institutional capacity and their eligibility is superior than our institution eligibility or affiliation. Right? So whenever being, I think majority of the faculty or research scholars here must be belong to colleges followed by universities and research institution. So you always need to understand that major players in research funding is that research institution governed by central and state government, followed by educational research institutions and centers, then universities primarily central, followed by state universities, then affiliated colleges with 8, with 12B and 2F status, then finally to deemed university, private colleges, and to other private agencies. Right? Even as I told earlier, private research agencies also nowadays getting so much of research, both government as well as corporate research funds. Now, eligibility to approach funding agency, right? So I just want all the participants now. I just don't want anybody to be sleepy here. I just want all the participants to just type in your type of institution, whether if it is university, just type university. If it is college, just type college, nothing else. I don't want any name of your institution, just a type of your institution, college or university, that's it. Yes, I received 5. Yes, 10. 10 are awake now. Okay, 20 are awake. That's it. Only 25 are awake. Great. 30. Yes, I got like 50 plus respondents. I can see college, college, college. Perfect. Affiliated college. Great. Yes. And universities also. Private university, deemed university. Great. Self-finance institution. Perfect. Yes. So I can understand 60 to 70 percentage are still awake. Hope I never put you sleep now. Now, you all know about your institution type, right? Now tell me, what should be your eligibility to approach funding agency according to you? You can just type in. You don't want to strain, unmute, and talk. You just type in the chat box. Very good. First, you should know how to write a proposal, and you should have a proposal. Perfect. Yes. What are all your eligibility? It can be a simple eligibility or the greatest eligibility, whatever, according to you. Yes, you should be scholarly. Yes, good. And your institution should have 2F and 12B status. Perfect. Yes. Any other eligibility that you may think of? Yes, it should be a college, it should be an institution. Perfect. Any other eligibility that comes to your mind? Yes, you should be a very good researcher. Perfect. Matching proposal to their goal. Very good. Every research funding agencies will have their own objectives to provide grant. Your proposal should match the objective. Yes. Proper budget. Excellent. Budgeting plays a major role. You should know, being a researcher, you should be a multitasker with greatest knowledge in varied fields, including budgeting. Yes. Identifying proper research problem. Yes. I think Mr. Amudan has stated qualification and publication. Perfect. That is an excellent answer. Yes. Relevant to current issues. Yes. CSR related project. Yes. Which have more interest on society. Yes. Topic, great. Social problems, perfect. Yes. I think all your answers are correct, but I'm just going to focus on few things which are all quite important to see. First things, are you eligible as an individual? Just imagine being an individual. Always you need to understand, when you're going to approach a funding agency, you are going to be an individual affiliated to an institution. Being an individual, right? So you have stated so many eligibility now. Being an individual, what should be your eligibility? First of all, right? You should be a very good researcher. Preferably, you should have an educational qualification. Yes, Dr. Yadav sir, perfect. You should have PhD. Sometime, right? Sometime, even a postgraduate person, eligible academician with MPhil may also be provided fund, but always this PhD holders will have a strong eligibility and they will be provided better preference. So first, you should have a pakka eligibility of educational qualification. Then designation. You can be an assistant professor, you can also be an associate professor or professor, right? But being a research scholar, you can work under a research guide. You cannot directly submit a proposal. Maybe you can submit a proposal for research fellowships, not for projects in general. I'm talking all these only by keeping our own central university research funding agencies, nothing else, not corporate, not a state agencies, not an individual agency. I'm just talking here about a central government research funding agency. So being an individual, you should have PhD as your educational qualification in a particular field. And secondly, you should have a very good designation. When I talk about designation, it should have a very rich experience. But when I say rich experience, it is not 10, 20. Minimum 2 to 3 years of experience you should have. If you are a 5 year or 5 year plus experience holder of being a faculty, it's absolutely good. But again, being a guest lecturer, temporary assistant professor, teaching cum research fellow, all these category designated academicians or researchers will always not be preferred by this central government institution, right? So first of all, you should be a good researcher by having a very good educational qualification and also in a proper designation with good work experience. Then anything else, being an individual, your eligibility should be, I think there one professor stated that qualification and publication. Publication is very important. See, whenever we talk about research, we can do any research, but end of the day, your CV speaks, your curriculum vitae speaks, your resume speaks, your data speaks, right? You should have enough number of presentations, research presentations. You should have enough number of publications in specific field. When I say specific field, for example, you are in a social science, you should know what is your area. For example, if your area is maybe rural development, so you should have enough number of publications, all quality standard publications in rural development, so that you can approach all the funding agency pertaining to rural development. Like we have rural education institution, we have rural development department as one of the department under the ministry. You can approach all these agencies when you have pakka publications pertaining to one specific research area. If you are going to be a social science researcher having very many varied publications, it's fine, but still there should be one dominant area you should always have. So I finish with qualification, designation, experience, publication. Anything else? When I say anything else, all your additional skills, awards, your strong profile, and various designation in which you work in your institution, everything that matters. For example, if you are going to be a researcher who's having a very good statistical knowledge, who's very comfortable in computer usage with very good typing skill, people always prefer these also, but this is not the major criteria. These are all like other criteria which may be think of. And finally, your proposal matters, right? End of the day, your proposal matters. Yes sir, your presentation skill even though matters, but that is during the scrutiny of your proposal or by having a selection committee for your proposal. And here I'm not going to talk about proposal. Why? Because yesterday already a senior professor has discussed in detail about how to write a research proposal. Now all imagine that being an individual applying to a funding agency, we're having a very strong proposal which is contemporary, which is precise, with proper substantiating substantiating models, frameworks, reviews, and of course, tools and methodology, etc. Now, next point that we are going to venture in today is your institution eligible? So again, as in the slide itself I have given, it's about 2F and 12B status. What is 2F and 12B? 2F is first of all registered institution under one particular university of state or center, and 12B is eligibility to receive grant under UGC. Even if you are going to apply for ICSR funding or UGC funding or any other funding, this 12B status is mandatory, right? I think in your IQAC report, this 12B certificate will always be available. You can just always think about it. Even I still remember the day when I was awarded ICSR project, immediately received an email to send the 12B status letter through an email. Only the moment I sent the letter, by evening I got my award letter. So, which means, first of all, individual should be eligible. Secondly, the institution must be eligible. So always you need to think before sending your application to central funded agencies. You need to doubly careful whether your institution is eligible to receive funds. Then research facilities. Though your institution is eligible, again, research facilities in your institution and reputation of your institution in the arena of research community is more important. Because end of the day, just imagine who is going to be in a selection committee, some renowned social science researcher. On seeing the institution name itself, they will know whether this institution is having such potential research facility or not. Just imagine if they are seeing a proposal from University of Madras faculty. Definitely they will give priority because university have more potential to do research. If the application is from MITS, they know very well that they have a very good library, they have a very nice computer systems, and it's digitally equipped. So they will immediately possible to prefer that particular institution based on the available research facilities. Then human resource. When I talk about human resource, while budgeting, you should also talk about research assistant, data collecting in charge, field investigator, statisticians, and so many things, right? So you should also have a potential knowledge, and you should provide enough importance for this human resource in your institution and also under you, right? That's why sometimes they will ask, are you a research guide? I still remember even many of the central funded institutions, they will ask whether you are a research guide, because if you are a research guide, it will be an added advantage for you. Then governance. I don't think like how many of you still remember about the documents that they will ask for whenever they are asking for a proposal. Normally ICSR don't ask for any statements. If you approach any ministries, they will specifically ask you like last 5 years audited statements, your statement of accounts, and also all the records past 5 years, how many research project the institution has taken, how many been completed and in process, and is there any failed ratio, etc. So governance makes a major difference being an applicant. So far you may think that because of having one research proposal which is contemporary, you may think that it may get selected, but not. Research funding agencies have some potential checklist and also some step marks to evaluate the eligible and also potential individual affiliated to a potential institution with proper facilities, resource, and governance. How to approach funding agencies? This is the next question. Any any answers in chat box? Maybe again, any how to approach, how to contact funding agencies? How can we contact? So we all know that we will wait for the call for proposal, and we will see for the notification in their website. Then we will upload our proposal. Now, you don't have any call for proposal. You don't have any notifications. Now, how are you going to approach? Again, I'm saying there is no call for proposal. To be very, to just state a fact, in the past 5 years, Okay, excluding 2022, in the past 5 years, no advertisement from UGC for major and minor research. Only in the year 2022, they have opened a call for a proposal and again for in-service faculty with less than like 2 to 3 years of service, right? So UGC has stopped accepting proposals, stopped providing notifications, because being a researcher, we need to know all the work and activities of funding agency, right? But ICSSR continuously in the past 5 years, during COVID also, they have provided, but Impress has stopped. No more Impress call for proposal, right? Now, it is not about call for proposal or notification. How are we going to approach? Yes. It should be an unsolicited proposal. Yes. Yes. Amudan sir has rightly said, visiting the funding agency, great. That's a great approach. Yes. Right. My answer is there in your chat. First, you should just have an online correspondence via email. For example, you have a very nice proposal on young youth suicide. Okay. Maybe it is about a very psychological related study on suicidal thoughts among youth. Maybe increased suicide rate in the state of Tamil Nadu, because recently the data clearly states the southern states and especially the metropolitan cities like Madurai, Chennai and Coimbatore are topping in the rank 5 with regard to suicide. Suddenly you saw this article in a newspaper and you want to write a proposal, so you started getting so many reviews and you got all the secondary data. You prepare a proper model framework on suicidal thoughts among college students or youngsters in the developed state or in the metropolitan cities. This might be a research proposal. Now, there is no call for proposal, but it is a very good proposal. So, whom you can approach? Yes, anybody? Which agency we can approach? You have a proposal with you, so whom you can approach? So you can approach any department related to health, any department related to education, and any department related to human resource development can be approached through email to their research wing or directly to the secretary. It's just like throwing a stone, okay, on a very tree having a ripened fruits. It's just an attempt. Through an online correspondence, you can send an email and wait for a response. Mostly, there won't be any response in general until or otherwise, it's a very active funding agency. Even if they want to talk or even if they want to approach, even if they say that this is not viable, they will immediately respond. Immediately, if there is no response, your second action should be postal correspondence. Sometime more than an email, postal correspondence will be provided some importance in comparison to email. So you can approach the funding agencies through postal correspondence. Now I am going with the answer of Amudan sir. Third thing is seeking personal appointment to visit the funding agency. This is a very effective way. For example, recently this UNICEF, UNESCO, they have very good offices in Chennai, Delhi, or Bangalore. You can straight away take your proposal if it's going to be related to health or anything related to sustainable development goals, which is a direct UN agenda. You can take your proposal and just visit, take an appointment, and go with your research crew or team and be ready with your presentation. Once you meet them in present, they will definitely listen to you. So, being a professor, being a researcher, you will always be respected, but you should know how nuancially you need to approach and seek appointment and to visit them. So, these are the basic approach to funding agencies pertaining to social science research. Now, finally, presentation of research proposal is very important. Though you are individually qualified, though your institution is qualified, but still your presentation skills matters. Can you prepare 20, 30 slides for a presentation? No. Your slides cannot exceed 3 or 5 because nobody will have more time to listen to our presentation to give funding. You should just impress the selection committee based on your presentation skill. Being a researcher, you should have a very good presentation skill to seek funds, to get funds from the agencies. So now next thing is I'm just going to talk about ICSSR. Hope many of you would have remembered this advertisement recently, the year 2022, and it was also given last date as October 8th, and the date was keep on extended from 12, 15, 20th, 26th, and so on. Right? So now hopefully I just want to recall few topic that we have discussed. We started with what is research funding agency. We also see the list of funding agencies for social studies. We also see how to approach and what should be your eligibility. Now I'm just going to show you the process of funding agency pertaining to ICSR. I think I've taken 45 minutes already. Maybe I will quickly go through this process. First, you should wait for a call. If you're not going to send any proposals, you're very disciplined. You are going to wait patiently to have a call or notification. So now comes the notification, for example. Then what you need to do immediately after notification, what you need to do? Yes, again put it in chat box. I can see few are very active, few are not very active. What should we do? I saw this notification immediately in the website. What I need to do? Yes, anyone? Notification arrived? Prepare the document. Excellent. Checking for eligibility. Great. Read the guidelines. Read the instruction. Awesome. I think you are a very ready researchers to send proposals. This is a very nice gesture of any researcher to approach funding agency. First, you should thoroughly read the advertisement. That is the very first eligibility or a very first good gesture towards any advertisement pertaining to funding agency. Sometimes we have some ready-made proposals and we want to push it through. Don't do that, right? Always be very particular. You have to prepare a very nice, worthy, deserving proposal to get funds. So once after getting a call, maybe this call also, hope you remember, it is for research program for 2021-22. This is the oldest one. Now it is ICSR. So what you need to do is you need to check the website of ICSSR. Hope you all, I think many of you would have already visited this web page. It's a very popular web page. So much of it's per day on research programs, doctoral fellowship, senior research fellowship, and Indo-US, China, Swiss collaborated research works, and so on. Now the very active, centrally funded research institution is ICSSR. Now click on the research proposal advertisement in the website and just go through the entire guidelines clearly. This is the guidelines. They will highlight the subjects. They will pour you with all the objectives. They will clearly state what are their areas, what are their broad disciplines and everything. Then fill in the registration form. I think you need to find the register form. You have to fill in with all the details. Just imagine the funding agency even want your PAN, Aadhaar and every other stuff. So you have to fill in the register form. Is my screen visible or you all on same page? Yes? Yes, any response? Yes or no?
Visible, sir.
Yes.
Yes,
Visible,
perfect.
visible, sir.
Yes, yes, good. Now, you should enter the application portal by providing your username, password, fill in CAPTCHA, just give submit. Then you will have an option of apply for major or minor research projects. Then after clicking that, you will get the application form. Hope many of you would have already aware of all this. Maybe now this is how the application portal works. See friends, I know that I'm not teaching or sharing any special knowledge here. These are all very basics. But each and every information is important. That is more important to approach. You should never even miss a single sentence of information. Sometimes we may think that ICSR recent proposal may be like the earlier ones. Never. Your research assistant amount alone will be, that time it may be 20, this time it can be 25. If you prepare a wrong budget, if you're just going to do a cut copy paste, they never evaluate. So your proposal should never have any errors, mistakes, nothing, because that is going to be your face. Your proposal is your face. So before filling in the application form, please be very careful. Even I have given all my mail ID. Even drafting, maybe it may look very silly. Even giving your name, please use a proper case, whether it should be capital case or in a proper small case or in a sentence format. Even uploading a photo, upload a proper formal professional photo, right? That is more important. By giving all the details, you need to be very clear. My simple suggestion is, before filling in the detail, take all the information side headings and just put it in a Word document. Then later on, after correcting it, rechecking it, do a copy paste. Then proposed budget. This is a very specific thing that you all need to understand. Even I still remember few interviews where I underwent with ICSR and one more state research funding agency. All the slides, less than 5 slides, we have to prepare and present. For budget, we have to allot one slide. You never believe, more than objective slide, budget slide takes so much of time to discuss on. They will ask clear cut justification for each and every item of this budget. You never, even if you depend on any person for budgeting, you personally being a proposal applicant should know each and every item, why you are going on with it, right? And also, can you see the percentage with regard to a budget format? Use a proper Excel. Even when you send a budget, it should be very presentable, right? And allot a proper percentage like 45 for research staff, 35 for field work and overheads. Institutional overheads is also very important to properly compute it. Then finally, you have to give submit by uploading all the relevant data. Then you have to print the same and you should submit the hard copy proposal to the ICSR office, New Delhi. I think, as I told, this is a very simple process of ICSR publication process. So don't think that you reach the top floor. No, because of submitting, somebody feel that you already got the project or proposed project being approved. No, this is just a very basic step. You just know stepped 2 to 3 steps to achieve a flow, to reach a flow, but you have so many other process. Now what is the process at ICSSR? Recently I told you, right, when I was submitting my major project, it is 17,000 plus. I got the slot number as, because of too much of inflow of project proposal. Just imagine, across Indian institution we have 400 plus universities with 500 plus departments applying for research proposals. You need to keep that in mind. We are not a single person applying, we are just one among the lakhs, not even in thousands. So out of so many thousands of proposals, there are some process at ICSR that happens. First, they scrutinize the research proposal. To be very honest, it's impossible for them to scrutinize all 20,000 or 30,000. That's why an attractive title and area, that is more important. Always select a very rare areas where you can expect or estimate a less number of proposals may come. Then they will shortlist the research proposal. Normally what they are saying is, even when once you receive the call for interview itself, there is a possibility of 30 to 40 percentage for you to get the project. So shortlist, if your project is shortlist, please keep in mind you are such an awesome researcher, your proposal is perfect and is very convenient and contemporary for them to read and go through. That's why the shortlisting stage, if your proposal reaches then that's really rocking the show. Then finally, they will invite the applicant for the presentation of research proposal. Again, the slide should be less than 5 or 10. It should mainly concentrate on the title, gap, objectives, and methodology, statistical tools, reporting things, limitations, and budget. And mainly, they will also ask about your research outcomes and takeaways for society and for the research field and so on. Then finally, if they are very much impressed with your presentation, they will issue an award letter via email. ICSR mostly send award letter through email, but they will send the sanction letter through post. So response to award letter with the attachments online should be done and also through post. Sometime you may think after receiving award letter, you may think the project is sanctioned. No, that is not the final step. Still you are in the ladder. Once they issue a award letter, ICSR will expect some documents like undertaking, declarations, your revised proposal. Sometime you may send a proposal for 10 lakhs and ICSR would have sent a budget for 7 lakhs. You have to revise everything accordingly. Then once you send all the attachments through online and offline, then finally they will issue a sanction order. Once you issue a sanction order, you got your project. It's not receiving an award letter, receiving a sanction letter. When you are issued with a sanction letter, you will get 30 to 40 percentage of your research fund, which will be directly transferred to your institution through PFMS. So now can you see the list of attachments? I've just cropped my attachments which I've sent for a minor research project. This is my very first research project. When this was applied, I was in less than 2 years of service, but it's a project on women entrepreneurship in rural Tamil Nadu and it got approved. And these are the 7 attachments. First of all, you should send a forwarding letter through your institutional head, can be a director, registrar, or principal in case of college. Then award letter copy should be submitted. Then grant and aid bill for the very first installment of 30 percentage or 40 percentage will be seeked and filled in ICSR PFMS form. Just imagine you should always, being an affiliated institution or being a research institution, you should have a PFMS account exclusively for ICSR to receive UGC or ICSR grants. Then undertaking should be there. That should be in 100 rupees stamp paper. In undertaking, the head of the institution and the principal investigator has have to sign. Then declaration again, and declaration also should be in 100 rupees stamp paper. Then it should be signed by your head of the institution and the principal investigator. And research proposal which is should be revised. For example, when I was sending, it is 4 lakhs minor project and they have revised to 3 lakhs like that, right? So you need to be very careful with this attachments. Once it's received, they will be proceeding of sanctioned research project. So once you got your project, it should be having a periodical progress report you have to submit, and periodical statement of accounts every 6 months you have to submit based on the received installment. Then grant and aids bills to release installments. For everything is PFMS, so grant and bill is very important. Then finally, submission of project report, one hard copy and soft copy in CD or pen drive. Then executive summary, audited statement of account in prescribed format with due sign of chartered accountant, and UC. UC again, it should be a very legal central government approved UC utilization certificate under 19A GFR 12A Act, and GAB. GAB is nothing but grant and aid bill for your final installment. And one thing you keep in mind if you're going to write a proposal to ICSR, final installment you have to spend. For example, if your proposal is for 1 lakh and your final installment is 30 percentage, then you have to spend that 3 lakhs. Keep this in mind. So it's always good to have be very cushy full when you are getting a project, but you have to put your money also. But sometimes very nice institutions, they will bear those final installment and they will recover once you receive your final installment. Then asset certificate and accession certificate. Asset certificate is whatever the equipment that you are going to purchase out of the fund you receive should be deposited with the institution. Become an asset of the institution. Until you finish the project, you can use it. Accession certificate, can somebody guess for what it is? Just a guess, just to see whether you're all awake. Accession certificate is for what? Accession certificate. Anyone? I think I made you all fall asleep. Okay. Institution assets.
My voice not.
Yes, madam. Yes. Normally, accession certificate is for the books that you are purchased out of your proposed project. These books should be deposited with your institution, and the librarian should give the accession certificate stating that the books are deposited with the institution. So one thing you all need to understand, that there is no any special
Not clear your
honorarium.
voice, sir.
Am I not audible, ma'am?
Audible, sir. Please
You are
proceed.
audible.
Okay. So whenever you think about accession certificate or asset certificate, it is just to ensure that whatever you purchase out of project, it's not for your personal use. Only during the project duration you can use it. Otherwise, asset should reach the department or institution. Books should be deposited with the library of the institution. An accession number for every book should be entered, and it should be certified by the librarian. So you may think why this fellow has been listing all these things, but you should know the process. Being a researcher and proposal submission person, you should know each and every process. You should keep everything in mind before you do things with your fund. End of the day, it is not your money. Of writing a project, it's not your money. It is government's money and it's public tax money, and we are all responsible to give due accounts to this. That's why it is transferred through the public financial management system under the governance of central government. Then finally, research publication. This is a big problem for many people, those who have taken project. If it's a minor, one research, major, 1 year, major 2 years, you have to publish in your by taking the data from your research report, and that should be published and it should be submitted with your final project. Then finally, plagiarism report check should also be confined with your project report, which should be less than 15 percentage of similarity index. Abstract of the report should be in 500 words. Then soft copy of the final report, both in PDF and Word format, to the ICSR email. So why I'm giving all the checklist is just I'm sharing out of my experience. You should be well prepared. You should be a multitasker, and you should know how to organize things. You should know how to maintain accounts. You should know how to do a proper budgeting. So when you write a proposal, your work is very simple. Just a 10 to 20 pages of proposal writing with 1 pages of calculation on budgeting. But once the award letter is received, the moment the award letter is received, you are with greatest authority and responsibility. Your authority for your project, responsibility should be envisaged for your sanctioned amount of funds. Then now I just going to close my talk because I thought to give some more hands-on. It's already 1 hour and I've taken extra 3 minutes. How many of you seen this recent advertisement? First, you need to understand that recently so many central government agencies are targeting on research pertaining to the scheduled tribes. Still, you have time, since after this workshop, if you get so much of knowledge on research proposal writing, you can attempt for this project proposal. It's a very nice call. You can think about it. Great, sir. All the best. So I think we come to an end with some personal tips out of my very limited experience of 2 to 3 years of working in a project. First one, check funding agencies' websites frequently. I always have a tab and date to check every weekend. I spend 1 hour just to check the funding agencies whether the advertisements are there. Then stay updated with contemporary research areas in your field. In your field, you should be the master and you should check all the contemporary research areas. How can you be updated? You should follow a quality journals in your research area, then only you can be updated. Then have a research mentor awarded with research project. Whenever you have your institution, senior professors always have a very cordial relationship with them. You go through their profile and find out whether they are awarded with any project. Whenever you find time, just have a cup of tea or coffee and discussion over the coffee about the research projects and its nuances. Then browse through the selected list of research proposals. Whenever we apply, if we don't get a project, we get so annoyed and irritated, we forget it. But don't do that. Go through every awarded project list that is always published in the funding agency, so that you will get an idea what is their area of preference that they are working on, right? Then browse through the curriculum vitae of senior professors. This I normally do. I normally download university and state university professors resume. I will download their profile from the website and see how many projects they are awarded and what are all the agencies that they are awarded with. Even I know one professor in Baraidasan, madam has received 20 plus state and central government research project, which is very impressive. You can gain more knowledge on research funding agencies which are all live and which are all ready to provide. Yadav sir, I got your question, and you can just try sending a proposal or get an appointment and visit. It's just an exploration. Then finally, stay in touch with funding agencies around you. In my college, we don't even leave this municipality office or Chennai commissioner office. Whenever there is a problem, we always go there and just sit with the commissioner by getting an appointment and see. We have so many proposals for this road conditions, improve the road condition, and to have a census during flood, and how to have a bus transportation, how to deal with bus transportation problems. So many proposals we send. Whenever we go with the proposals, not everything will be approved, but few things will always be approved and they will be listening to. So these are my some personal tips that I've shared today, and I'm just going to sign off now with a very big thank you. I don't know whether we have time for questions. If you have any questions, if the organizing team ensures, we can have a brief discussion. So I just say a very good thank you to the organizing team of DB Jain College, Thorepakam, Chennai, for giving me this greatest opportunity to meet all this 100 plus audience through online and to share my knowledge on this research funding agencies.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
all.
Thank you so much, sir. Today's information was extremely good and it was to the point and it was completely enlightening. And I thank all the participants who have been staying patient and made the interaction very active with the speaker interacting. And it's the end of the session. I now request Mr. Professor Sudha to propose the vote of thanks.
Ma'am, Narmada ma'am, or should we take questions from the participants, ma'am? Narmada ma'am.
Sir, shall we allow the questions, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, not an issue. I am ready, but I just concerned about the timing that you have restricted with. Anything is fine for me.
Okay, sir. Participants, if you have any doubts, kindly unmute yourself and ask the questions.
I think if you have no questions, one thing you didn't understand anything, it must be a very boring session, or you must have aware of everything. But anyway, I can see that it's a very active session and also with active participants. Really, I should thank the organizing team for giving this opportunity to me once again.
Participants, any queries, any clarification?
Sudha ma'am, wind up the session, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege to propose vote of thanks on the third day of the workshop. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. On behalf of Dhanraj Baid Jain College, Chennai, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our eminent resource person, Dr. B. Chinnamuthu, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Aided Stream, Madras Christian College, Chennai, for taking out time from his busy schedule to enrich us with his extremely relevant address. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts, and this has shown us a new path in research funding agencies. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our chairman, Sri M. Lalchand Munoz, Secretary Administration, Dr. Harish L. Mehta, Secretary Finance and Secretarial, Sri Jaswant Munoz, Professor, Professor in charge, Dr. C. Murugesan, Professor, Principal in charge, Dr. C. Murugesan, Professor in charge, Dr. M. Saktivel Murugan, and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. B. Jagadisan, for the continuous support and encouragement. Team leadership is the secret that makes common people achieve uncommon results. I thank Dr. A. Narmada, Head Department of Management Studies, for her untiring efforts in organizing this session. A successful team is a group of many hands and one mind. I thank the staff members of the department for their involvement. I also thank all the teaching and non-teaching staff of our college for their cooperation. Last but not the least, I thank all the participants connected through Google Meet and YouTube Live for their active participation and making the session a grand success. Thank you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for a very nice vote of thanks. So, thank you, ma'am. Especially special
Thank you.
thanks to Narmada, ma'am, for this opportunity. Shall I take a leave?
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir. Thank
please.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Participants, feedback link will be given. It can be filled up within 10 minutes. Thank you.